Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today I have a very simple argument, and it's that the meta does not matter. So I went to make a video today, and so I'm going to quickly show you guys Google Doc before we actually get into this. I went to make a video today, and when I make videos, for a meta report video, which is basically a tier list, I write out the champions that are strong. And this is my meta report from a video from about a month and a half ago, the most recent meta report I made. And when I went to look at it, I realized pretty much every champion I had strong is still strong, and every champ I had weak is still weak, and everything in between. And then I went to look at other tier lists of YouTubers or whatever to, reference them. And when I see them, it's just change for the sake of change. Like a champion is put stronger in a tier list or weaker in a tier list than they were put months ago, despite very little actual change happening. And I realized I could make a video, I could change a couple things so it looks like I put effort into it, and then I could, get 3,000 or 4,000 views on a video, which is more than I normally get because my meta reports get more video or more views, and I could call it a day. And I realized I don't really want to do that anymore. I'm not really concerned with that, and I'd rather kind of explain to you guys why I don't think that you need to be concerned with the meta at all, and why I think it's quite a problematic thing as it relates to climbing. So I have no issue with people watching videos for entertainment. I think that's useful, obviously, and I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that people should watch my videos more because they can watch whatever they want is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to come across as people should watch certain types of videos. People should watch what they want. However, when it comes to meta videos, I can't really see another reason for watching a meta video other than wanting to climb or have more knowledge on the game. Ultimately, you either want you want to know the most current up-to-date meta so you know what's strong, so you know how to play it or how to play against it. I can't really see a whole lot of other reasons. And so if the purpose of watching these videos is to get better or to climb, then my argument is that people are wasting their time. Because I don't think that it makes you better at the game to know that Soraka got 5% worse or 5% better, or Soraka went from C tier to B tier, or whatever the case may be, or for any champion. I don't think this is useful. So my first argument is, again, it's not really useful, and the reason that it's not useful is because champion strength does not change drastically from patch to patch or even really from year to year. Ultimately, in my opinion, what makes a champion, generally speaking, stronger or weaker is their kit. The actual abilities, the passive, all of these things, and how they interact with the other champions in the game. So for example, Thresh is always going to do well into enchanters. Thresh can be the best champion in the game or the worst champion in the game. He's always going to do well into enchanters. Or for example, Vayne's always going to do well into tanks. Vayne has consistently been a weak champion if you look at it in an objective sense, win rate sense, whatever you want to do. But if you have a Vayne Lulu against a full tank comp, you're going to do well. I don't care how strong or weak Vayne is. And that's my general argument, is that some champions are very niche and have their specific niches they fill, such as Vayne to counter tanks, Thresh to counter enchanters. And some champions are very generally strong. Nautilus is good in pretty much every situation, for example. Lee Sin is good in pretty much every situation, and so on and so forth. And I feel people concern themselves too much with the flavor of the month, the fact that, I don't know, Bloodthirster got 5 more AD or whatever random thing, how that impacts the meta. And I don't think that truly matters. I think what matters is, again, how champions' kits interact with other champion kits, and how certain archetypes of champions interact with other archetypes, like assassins being good at killing squishies, or whatever else. It may be for example, hook champs being good into enchanters, generally speaking. I think you need to understand that a lot more than understanding the meta month to month, even though that's generally what people concern themselves with. Then additionally, opinions vary significantly. So again, the first thing I just wanted for you guys to understand is that in my opinion, the meta isn't actually useful. Understanding champions is more useful. Additionally, champion mastery matters a lot more than champion strength. If you know how to play your champion well, you're going to be able to play it in every situation. Doesn't matter if it's super weak or super strong. But then again, another thing is the opinions just vary a lot. So not only is the meta not useful to know, but the meta isn't even possible to truly know as, I would say, a lower to mid-rank player who doesn't understand the game. So let's say you're a Grandmaster player watching right now, or a Diamond player, or you just started the game a week ago, whatever the case is. I don't think that you can differentiate my opinion from Royal's opinion, who's a really good player, or from Starting, who's a really, really, really good player. I don't think that you're truly going to be able to tell the reasoning for why Starting or Royal believe differently than me, despite all of us being high-level players relative to the general player base, And again, most of the general players would consider all of us to be good players. Of course, some people are going to think someone's better than the other person, but ultimately, again, all high-level players all have different opinions, significantly different opinions in many cases. So if people have such different opinions, despite both being considered good players by most people, then like, what is it that changes that opinion? Well, ultimately, it's experience, right? Like, I'm a player who's done well on certain types of champions. Royal, again, I just keep using him as an example because I'm sure he doesn't care. Has been good at, the champions he's good at. He can play most champions really well, but of course everyone just has the champions they naturally gravitate towards, and that's going to impact your opinion on the meta. And so by that logic, if my experience or skill on my champions is what is what is changing my opinion of the meta, well then very clearly, champion skill is probably going to be nearly as important, if not more important, than the actual strength, in a more objective sense, which I guess the only real objective measure you could maybe say is win rate. But even win rate is kind of a flawed statistic because, of course, one, win rate varies by rank. So if you're looking at Diamond plus win rates or Master plus win rates or even Challenger plus win rates, you're going to have a larger sample size from the lower end because, again, there's going to be more Diamonds than Masters or more Masters than Grandmasters or whatever. I don't know the exact distribution, but there's going to be some varying level of distribution, which means you're getting an uneven sample size from the stronger players versus the weaker players or vice versa. Which means, yes, maybe Miss Fortune will have a 55% win rate, hypothetically, but her 55% win rate might be 58 in Diamond and 52 in Challenger. Again, that's not actually how it would work. I'm just random example. And understanding these things as well means okay, so we can't trust the statistics completely. We can't trust an individual YouTuber because, okay, multiple good players are having very different opinions. So what can we trust? Again, we can trust consistent champion interactions, like how champions will always interact with people. That's going to be infinitely more important than, again, a champion standing in the meta because an item got changed. And items don't get changed that much throughout patches. Like, again, even though tank items got changed, Radiant Virtue's a dog shit item for the most part. Maybe good on a few champions. Dawn Shroud changed, didn't drastically change it in the meta. Randuin, same. A majority of the items that got changed, they impacted very few, if any, champions, and ultimately people don't even build properly in a majority of games, so they're not even going to be starting to build these items or building them in the correct scenarios or building them on the correct champions. So why are you so concerned with what Royal or what Talon says about the meta? I think it's pretty useless. And so my point in all this is I'm not going to keep making meta report videos. Again, go watch Royal. I just keep saying Royal because, again, he's a good player. If you want to know someone's opinion who has, a level of ethos that is significant, watch him. His credibility is good. If you want to watch someone who has a good opinion, go watch his videos. That can be what you gain from him. I'm not going to provide that to people at the moment. Maybe I will in the future. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to eat for dinner today. So how do I know what I'm going to do a month from now or 2 months from now? But the point is, I don't currently have a concern with that. I have much more of a concern with making videos on concepts of Wild Rift, which I believe are infinitely more important. I believe understanding how to lane properly, how to find gold properly, how to team fight, all of these things are what actually change your skill. I don't believe your skill has changed because you know that Swain is slightly stronger than Tristana or vice versa or whatever. I don't think that matters, and I'm kind of done with making videos based on what I think will get more views because, again, I don't remember if I said this because this is my third time recording it since I have a very hard time being concise with this topic. But yeah, I get way more views on my videos that are about the meta, despite those videos being much more useless, because that's what people want to see. And if people want to see that, they can continue to watch that, but I'm no longer going to make content that I don't think is actually going to help you climb, just because, it's an easy video to make. Doesn't feel as good for me. I don't prefer it, and I think it's ultimately useless to you. So that's pretty much it for the video. Sorry for it being a bit rambly, and I know it's not as useful or informative as some of the videos I've been making recently. And funnily enough, it kind of will prove my point if this video gets more views than a video that is longer and more detailed and more about concepts, or a coaching video. Because people are more concerned with something like this where you're oh, this is, the truth about the meta or whatever. And you have these titles. Usually those do well on YouTube. I'm not an expert YouTuber, but generally speaking, that's been my experience. And I can tell, people are more concerned with that. And yeah, so I kind of rambled again, but basically to reiterate the main points, the meta does not change much. the YouTubers have very different opinions on the meta anyway, so how can you really tell who's right or wrong? And what matters a lot more is how your champion interacts with the champions picked in the specific game, those 5 champions, and the kit of the champion, the abilities, the passive, those matter more than your champion's specific strength because Bloodthirster got slightly stronger or weaker, or, you know, one random champion got stronger that counters your champion. I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned more with, again, the overall champion interaction from game to game, understanding champion archetypes and champions as a whole, and also having mastery of champions. I think ultimately that is more important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was useful to you guys in some way, shape, or form, and I will see you guys in the next one.